What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the shop. I want to right now listen with you guys to the Q&A that happened with Steve today of AITX. Now, this is coming from my guy, Misty Diablo's channel. All right, if you're not already, go check him out, Misty Diablo. And let's get to it.
Next 3 to 6 months are you most excited for in the AITX/RAD world?
We're under constant pressure to release the names of some of our clients. No, I mean, everybody, we go through this on a regular basis. Why can't you release blah, 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 blah. So to answer that question, in the next 3 to 6 months, I believe we're going to have some big names be public. And because it's such an incessant question and we're under pressure to do these releases,
in the next 3 to 6 months, we're going to have some big names be public. Three to 6 months, big names be public.
That for me, I think is going to be very exciting for me. I think it's going to be very exciting for our Red Army. And so that excites me that I'll be able to feed you guys some names and be able to take a little bit of the pressure off of those requests. Beyond that, I'm excited about the sales performance. I'm excited about how our K, which is our year-end filing, our year-end ends on February 28th. So for me, next 3 to 6 months, releasing customer names, or at least a couple really big ones. Number two is financial results improvements, what I expect to be dramatic financial results improvements as shown.
Dramatic financial result improvements. That's what I want to hear. Mind you, they already have about 133% growth quarter over quarter. So now he's saying there's even more dramatic improvements.
In the K and sales results. So those things are pretty much, I'd say, my top three. But at the same time, I'll share with you, we could possibly announce some pretty cool software or hardware developments. We might take the wraps off of my mysterious subsidiary number 3 that has a big question mark on the AITX.ai website. So there could be a lot that happens in the next 3 to 6 months. Just because I need to constantly be conservative and temper expectations, I would say that those elements that I just shared that I'm excited about are elements that I'm excited about throughout fiscal 2022, which of course lasts from March 1st, 21 to February 28th, 22. But we've never had a year that has so much potential for excitement, improvement, and growth across every element of the business. There's a bunch of surprises mixed in there that I'd love to share, but as you guys know, I can't. And but I will.
But I will. I keep telling you guys, this is gonna be the year. This is gonna be the year for AITX. He says we got a lot of surprises coming. He said in 3 to 6 months he's gonna share a lot of companies that we partner up with that we don't know about, with some surprises in there.
Time. So yeah.
How long do you think it would roughly take your team to ship every order you've fully signed at this time, given your current pacing of production and shipping?
A great question. It's a complex question, right? We have a fairly sophisticated supply chain. Our easiest product to build is Rosa. Just to give you an example, Rosa has 114 line items of parts that go into it, and in total, about 600 different pieces are needed to make a Rosa. It takes about 12 hours to physically assemble a Rosa at the current time. Probably, say, 60 days from now. The reason why it's an interesting question is that
12 hours to build a Rosa. Guys, mind you, he did say the last time that he's looking to fill up buildings with engineers to get these products pumping, to get more and more because there's a huge amount of demand out there. So he's trying to fill up buildings of engineers to start building them together, so we could get the supply down packed and get it out there to these companies. Um, 12 hours to build a Rosa. I'm not an engineer. I don't think that's that bad. Um, I think once we do hire as many people as we need to, I think that's when the real orders are going to start coming in. And I believe we do already have a lot of partnerships in place just waiting to be announced. I do believe that, and I believe it's going to come out soon. Let's listen to the rest of this.
is that we're constantly shuffling production priorities as different things come up. So for example, well, this is going to be new information for everybody. We last week I came up with a program where we're going to have a 3-day order to ship turnaround. So previously, those guys and ladies who follow us very closely have known that I've been talking about bringing down full production to a 30-day cycle. But I have a new program that's going to come out to be a 3-day cycle, which is going to be pretty cool. So Cat Gambler, we don't really look at it like when we're going to clear the backlog. It's kind of like, hey, what are the priorities? Who needs what? Absolutely, in life, there's elements of equality, but there's realities of inequality. So we make choices of who gets what, and we change it in order to best serve our strategic priorities.
Next question is from Dr. I'm going to go with Jasir786 saying, "Hi, Steve. Is there any truth to the rumors about a Walmart contract?"
Great question. So, this question comes to us in different forms regularly, right? Lately, the last couple of weeks, it's been, is the Walmart contract real, and is the Tesla contract real? And I've seen, and people have shared some, news headlines from, I don't want to say Market Watch or Seeking Alpha, but those types of organizations. And the answer is you have to expect that we are working on selling our solutions to all the Fortune 500. So, I can't be misleading here.
Working on selling our solutions to all the Fortune 500s.
And I need to be clear, and I need to make sure that everybody understands that the response that I'm going to give can't be spun out into the market to mislead or be pumpy, okay? So understanding that we are probably in talks with most major retailers and most major big names are somewhere in our sales funnel. And that includes Walmart, and that includes Tesla, and that includes, these types of companies. So do we have any contracts imminent with them? No, we don't. Are we in discussions with them, presenting our solutions and talking about applications? Absolutely we are. So I want to be very, very clear on that. Nothing is imminent. Certainly we're working on selling them stuff, and they are moving through the sales funnel.
And to kind of hit on that a little before we go into the next question, it's just an important thing for investors to keep in mind is if the news doesn't directly come from either AITX/RAD or Waypoint, and somebody's claiming, hey, this just got announced, always take it with a grain of salt because Steve and I text regularly. I think I text him more than my wife at this point. Um,
Yes.
and we do see a lot of these, hey, look at this crazy rumor that we're seeing. And some of them, can hit close to home. We're like, oh man, I wonder, where that info came from. And other ones are just way out there. But you always have to just take everything with a grain of salt because people will try to feed you information that may not necessarily be true for their own um, benefit. And that's the one thing that Steve and I don't want is for somebody to jump into AITX not fully informed because they heard a rumor somewhere and then they feel like they were lied to. That's why we're very open about this. That's why we do the monthly Q&A.
Be careful who you listen to. Not everybody has the same vision as you do. It's a lot of bullshit articles, a lot of people just trying to pump this, and a lot of us know the best way for AITX to grow is organically, and gradually, slowly, gradually. So all those pumps, no reason for it. A lot of guys are here for the long term and really see the vision. So, like they saying, just be careful who you listen to.
Q&As, it's all about transparency, and that's kind of our goal here. So we don't want anybody to feel like they were misled.
Very, very, very well said. Thank you so much. I say it regularly on Twitter and various platforms. I'm like, if some anonymous person, is giving a tip, you need to more or less dismiss it. Anything, Rad and AITX are pretty much a steel trap of information. There are some investors that have kind of dealt with us either with ideas or sales leads or something, and those couple know that I don't say anything without an NDA. So everybody knows my attraction towards NDAs. There's several reasons for it. So just come to the source, which is what I encourage everybody to do. So thank you so much for that. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Our next question is from a personal favorite of mine, C. Peterson. So his question is, can you give us an estimated time frame on the release of the new subsidy? In a broad range of time. In a broad range of time if possible, such as before the uplist, before the 8K is released, et cetera, et cetera.
The time frame of the release of the new subsidiary will definitely be after the K. There's no question about that. But I don't expect to release information on the subsidiary until after the K. I'm not going to have it listed in subsequent events either. There's just time that's needed by me to finish mapping out the priorities, roadmap, and do hiring for that subsidiary as well. It's going to take some time.
Hi, Steve. Do you see any interest in free flight drones using your software in the near future, untethered? And if so, what measures are you taking to address flight time? I know we've discussed this in the past about, the benefits of being tethered as opposed to untethered, regulations regarding free flying drones, but I don't know if everybody's up to date on that. So if you want to kind of touch base on it.
I don't want to talk too much about drones. I have a lot of stuff under development right now, and I'd wager $10,000 that there is at least either one would-be competitor or wannabe competitor on this call.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take a pass on
Facts.
Says Steve,
He ain't say no, right? He ain't say no about the drones. Guys, remember, we're not a drone company. We're a security company. But
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Siri, be quiet. So
There's nothing to stop here. Check if the device is on your home Wi-Fi network.
So anyways, we're not a drone company. We're a security company. But can I see drones being utilized with this company? Can I see this company making drones? I definitely can't see them. I think there's a reason that Steve didn't disclose the answer to that question. Does that mean that's one of the surprises or whatever. I don't know. I don't think that necessarily means one way or another. Um, but again, he didn't say no. But I don't know how much of a drastic impact would the fact that they would be making drones as well make. But that's definitely something interesting. If they will be making drones, because the technology they got right now, as far as for the security sector, I see it already being um, top of the line. I think there's only a few industries that would be able to utilize the drones for security purposes. I think the rest of the technology got everything down packed as far as that. Um, but I think drones will be definitely an interesting addition to the products that they have currently.
You mentioned in the Duh Media interview that industry inertia, wanting to just do things the way they've always done, is the biggest obstacle right now in regards to the adoption of RAD's solutions. Is there anything that you've thought of that we as the RAD Army can do to help create a desire for accelerated adoption? Do you want them to write an elected official, signal to decision makers that people actually want this?
Over the course of, say, the next 3 to 6 months, there maybe, who knows, some interesting things that are happening that could enable the Rad Army to do what you're saying in terms of promoting it within your cities, towns, counties. But I want to just say, hey, let me finish what this is, and then you'll see what it is, and you'll be like, hey, okay, I think we can do this and that and this and that. And that will be something that's clearly explained, easy to understand, and will have the most incredible reference customer that you could imagine backing it. So let's put a pin in that for now. Let's continue doing Rad Army stuff.
That's definitely something interesting. A lot of suspense with that. With what he just said. He said the most interesting reference custom. It's definitely a lot of suspense he's building for us AITX investors, huh?
And let's just kind of be ready for when that drops. Now, what I'm mysteriously referring to is the announcement that I was hoping would happen in January with this one big client, and of course it didn't. But that announcement will be a catalyst that could enable the Rad Army to get to work for us on the business fundamental side. So let's.
I think he's talking about a big governmental contract that he was previously talking about when he says that, the one that fell through um, because of the situation at the Capitol building. I really do believe that he had a big governmental contract he was working on, whether it be the New York City transit system, whether it be the Metro North, LIRR, whether it be the subway system, because he did mention before a lot of people even knew about AITX. He did mention that he's looking, um, that he has, should I say, he has some dealings in the works with the New York City transit system. He did disclose that, and I do believe that might have been what he was working on. Um, might have been a lot of other things, but I definitely think it was a governmental contract plus possibly something to do with the transit system. Um, just my guess, but we will find out soon.
let's just hold on that for the time being.
It says accounts receivable roughly doubled in Q4. Has there been any guidance on accounts receivable versus sales growth expectations for Q1? I like what I see in AITX, but want to be sure your customers are paying their bills / that they aren't getting too favorable terms.
Interesting question. Listen, when you're dealing with Allied Universal and they say, hey, we're going to pay you in 90 days, the response from a tiny little tech company is, yes, sir, thank you, sir. Okay, so let's understand where we are in the cycle. So that's number one. We're not in a position where we bargain. Allied has, as an example, sophisticated contracts with their customers and cash flow related, blah, 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 blah. So we currently have one client who is on slow pay right now, but nobody gets like favorable terms in terms of like discounts or whatever. These are all business decisions.
Saying, hey, Steve, hope you're having a good day. Is there any way AITX is playing?
Listen, guys, I hope that eventually, whether that be this year, next year, hopefully, no matter what company it is, hopefully we move out of that space where we could even be referred to as a small tech company, where any company could tell you, listen, we're paying you in 90 days or whatever. Hopefully we get to the point where we set the terms, where we tell these companies, no, you have to pay us 30 days, 60 days, or whatever. They go by our terms, not their terms. But no, I do know that the Allied is one of the biggest security firms out there, so I'm sure they definitely got that kind of, how should I say, they got that kind of name where they just make a lot of companies just fall into place. They put them, they basically call the shots. But I definitely think that with somebody like Steve behind us, and the fact that he notices that about this company Ally, I think we will get to a place where we're calling the shots, and hopefully we become, I don't want to say the Allied of this industry, because again, Allied security company, but what we're starting is, with his own words, a whole separate industry in the security field, a whole separate entity, should I say. And I spoke about this in my previous video, the three different, the two different right now fields in the security industry, and he's looking to make its own. So hopefully we're going to get to a place where companies look at us where, listen, if AITX and Steve says this, is going to be this, right? So let's keep going.
Planning to implement their products somehow in everyday life, like homes and such. So I guess more like
yes, a residential solution.
Yep.
LS, we have a couple of proposals out in the Hollywood crowd right now. So some of our extended ecosystem, do personal security for, the Hollywood elite and so forth. And there's actually supposed to be a 3 rows of deal that's been hanging out there for a long time for an A-list celebrity. And that would have really excited people had it come through. And it's not dead. It just hasn't come through yet. So the short answer is there's nothing in the product development roadmap that's going to focus on the consumer residential side of the market. So that's the short answer there. There's a lot of reasons for it.
My kid's dad asks, what would be the top 5 sectors that AITX targets? And he also says, thanks, Steve. Keep up the great work. Long and strong.
Yeah. Top 5 sectors for AITX. Well, logistics, retail, critical infrastructure. I would say those are our top 3 targets So airports, we've got a couple airport stuff in funnel. Public, we've got some public in funnel. Yep, distribution centers, we've got some in funnel. So yeah, I think you kind of hit them.
For the helpers, saying, Steve, you briefly mentioned new Scots coming out before. Is this a new hardware reveal for 2021, or will there be another? And do you still anticipate a software reveal this year? And I actually want to kind of tap off that. If there is a new version of Scott coming out, is it? I hate using the word Tesla, but I almost kind of have to. Is it going to be Tesla-esque where the unit itself stays the same, but maybe some major features get added to it and they just don't get mentioned? Or is it going to be full redesign? You almost don't even want to look at the old one because it's just, leagues behind the new one.
The way that our numbering plan works is that we kind of release like a 1.0, and then it has different variations like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. Scott, we released the 2.0 version maybe about a year ago, and now we're producing the 2.1 versions. So it doesn't look any different, but the main functional difference between the 2.0s and 2.1s is 2.1 actually has an air conditioning unit built inside, and it's insulated. On the software side, we're constantly adding additional, features and stuff, which we don't announce to the public. Sometimes we might make, an announcement in our weekly newsletter or whatever, but we don't really make a huge deal about all the stuff that we do all the time. Will there be? It is not the new hardware reveal for 2021. There is something else that I'm working to get to. And I do anticipate a couple of big software reveals for 2021. So yes, so expect one hardware.
So we got a big hardware reveal coming, huh?
Reveal in 2021, and expect what I would consider two notable software reveals for 2021.
Hi, Steve. Do you plan to offer these devices for direct sale? All the security companies you currently sell through require an account, and there's no seller currently on the web that will simply let me buy one or two devices for my own small business. Is this because of the required subscription service? And are there plans for a device that does not require a subscription, like for the mask detection? He'd buy two of those tomorrow if he could.
Well, hit me up on direct messaging. We do sell direct. We don't just go through dealers. We have actually beefed up our direct selling resources. So that's good. So no, we're certainly sell direct. The construction company sale was direct as an example. So hit me up on the DM. The subscription service is required. The devices can be purchased or they can be purely subscribed to. But if they are purchased, the subscription service is still required. We still run the units on the RAD network and provide the cellular work and the over-the-air upgrades and the 24/7 service and the warranty and all that stuff. So there's a recurring cost. Hit me up on DM. I'll set you up with someone in sales, and we can see if we can't do some business. Thank you very, very much.
Rise Up 42 asks, how many of the present orders are from Fortune 500 companies?
I don't know. I haven't done the math.
Says, compared to the most recent 10Q filing, what will the next financial...
How many present orders are from Fortune 500 companies? And he hasn't done the math. So that definitely can be a substantial figure. That's big, guys, to have orders from Fortune 500 companies. At the point where AITX is right now, to already have those orders, that's big. That definitely is, and something he touched on, that even if they want to buy it directly from AITX outright. They have the subscription service, or you could buy the machinery outright. You will still be needing to pay monthly for them to handle everything. As far as, I guess there's maybe an app for it where they control it, any upgrades, things of that nature. And he mentioned the 24/7. I think he said service on it. So there's residual income coming in no matter what with these products. So that's great.
Financial filing look like? Will it reflect more positively or roughly the same?
Uh-huh. It's a bit of a judgment question, right? You guys, and ultimately, you guys are going to have to make that judgment of whether or not it will reflect more positively. I will share with you my opinion is that I believe that the K is going to be viewed incredibly positively. And hence, like I've said, I'm accelerating the delivery of that K to the market for those reasons. So I think I've mentioned it about 100 times now. I'm excited about the K. I think everybody else will be as well.
Another great question from Look for the Helpers says, I know you can't name the clients, but could you tell us what the largest order you've received so far is, like device number wise?
Mm-hmm. The largest single order has been, and it's actually the largest single opening order as well, is the Trinity Metro order for 7 devices out of Fort Worth.
Mm-hmm.
That's our largest single order at this time.
If you close a big time contract, for example, a Walmart or an Amazon, how do you plan to ramp up production in order to be able to fill those orders?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, the first thing is that you're assuming that this particular order, like Walmart or Amazon, would be of such quantity that would stretch our existing production facilities, right? The reality is maybe they start with a pilot, 2 devices, 10 devices, 20 devices, Listen, we've got plans on how to ramp up. I assure you of that. The reality of it is let's say Walmart orders 100 units or 500 units. They don't have the capacity to take the units the next day. There has to be a rollout and plan for them. So that the fact that they needed to have time to have a rollout plan gives me time to have a ramp up plan. So we'll be able to meet expectations. We'll be able to meet reasonable expectations, hopefully when we get these large orders.
Sand Tiger 75 says, moving to the OTC QB means more exposure and bigger investment groups. When do you anticipate this to occur exactly?
Mm-hmm. I mean, John, I defer to you on addressing whether or not it means more exposure and more bigger investment groups, because I don't necessarily know if that's truth, right? So I just want to question that statement so that it's not accepted as something that I'm necessarily endorsing. My interest in moving to the QB is that there are, everybody's at a higher level of reporting standard, which RAD already, or AITX already participates with on the pinks. So
Full
moving to
SEC
QB for
reporting.
me just eliminates the idea of hey, these guys are a scam, right? Like that whole scam thing. So in the QB, you just don't have that. That's the interest to me. When are we going to do it? I would say I would expect by the end of second fiscal quarter, we would have that done.
Next question is from Boom, and it says, how do you feel about AITX being mentioned on Wall Street Bets?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I just don't know. I mean, you guys know me. I'm 100% transparent. I don't know everything. I don't know. I mean, I've been following the Wall Street Bets GameStop thing. I think probably like everybody else who has anything to do with the market. Fascinating. The democratization of investors. I love the rise up of Main Street. So, how's it going to play out? I don't know. Do I want a run up on AITX? Of course I don't. It's just going to cause pain and misery to people who buy at the wrong price. So no, I don't want I don't want to pump that Wall Street Bets can do. I don't want to be shorted on the way down. So it's something that I want to continue to grow organically based on real information, fundamentals, and an educated and informed Red Army. I do like the idea that we were mentioned because you guys know I want to increase the size of the Red Army by a factor of 10.
Yes.
because the more eyes, the more investors, the more trading, the more everything. It just strengthens it for everybody.
All right. Another great question from Demo says, why would you specifically want to move production to Michigan? Is it because it's closer to suppliers, the available workforce, etc.?
Handful of reasons. It starts with the fact that our R&D team is across the Windsor River in Waterloo, so it's an easy 2 to 3 hour drive for engineers to come down and spend time with production. So that's primary reason number one. Primary reason number two is I'm just a huge fan of the Rust Belt. They got machine shops on every corner. They've got a building culture, know how to build stuff. It's just a good culture to be part of. Number three, I would be really happy to be part of, the greater Detroit area's resurgence. I think there's a lot of strength there. I think that area, I've seen that area go through some tremendous pain. And
All right, guys. Just real quick, my thoughts. My thoughts on this. I think this was a real humble, just a down to earth, um, just a real, um, just no pump, just real talk, um, by a guy that I like a lot, and I think he's gonna make some things happen. Because again, he's just giving us the truth. He's telling us what it is. He's not trying to guess it, to pump it. Um, Definitely don't think he's just trying to score our investors. I think he really has a vision and he's executing. Um, he's executing on everything that he speaks about. Real quick, I want to read something to you guys that just popped into my head. I took a screenshot of a post on StockTwits that somebody put up the other day that basically just broke down exactly how I feel about AITX and the company and just everything that's going on, present and future. So basically, the stock said as follows. It's from a gentleman calls himself or lady Nero68. So it says, "Do you people realize how amazing this is for a penny stock? To have new contracts and revenue coming in at such an early stage and the price is hovering between 10 and 15 cents is unheard of. This company has actual value now, no pump and dump BS. Just a good technologically advanced company making deals which will grow in a post-pandemic world at a hugely discounted rate." That just basically breaks it down. I like the Q&A session a lot. Um, I like the fact that we have a lot of news coming out of these partnerships. We're going to be on a QB soon, ramping up production. And again, we can't fill orders. Um, said no matter the amount with these companies, because again, they can't just take huge orders all at once. It's going to be over a period of time, and they will be able to meet that demand. So that's great. And I think they're gonna keep expanding. They're gonna keep hiring, keep getting into these new facilities. So when we do have the bigger and bigger orders from bigger and bigger companies, they will be getting filled at a prominent rate. To hear the rest of that Q&A, gonna hit up my guys, Misty Diablo's channel. Um, AITX, baby. You guys take care. Have a great night.